finest.
Jeff Hemmings.
Juice.
So you got a new album coming out, second album.
Yep, Friday.
Which is the follow-up to 2015's A Dream Outside. So it's been nearly 3 years in the making. You're still with the Transgressive label, which is great. So, I mean, can you tell me about this album and how it differs, do you think, from the previous album in terms of the way you approached it, and if there's anything different that you did in terms of the recording process?
I think, the fundamentals in recording it are pretty similar, didn't change a huge amount, but I think, the experiences we had from making the first record and touring was kind of paramount in the making of the new album, and I think it gave us a lot of insight on things that we could maybe kind of evolve from A Dream Outside. So I know we'd never actually really toured that album, so the first time we went in to record it in the studio that was it really. We didn't really have any chance to practice it or even play the songs a huge amount before they were done. So a lot of the original demos ended up being the album on A Dream Outside. So it was a vastly different process this way when we've toured for 2.5 years and then went into the studio, and when we kind of really wanted to make sure that some of that kind of energy and the dynamics we picked up from playing live was a part of the album rather than sort of part of the bit after the album's been done. So I think we wanted to have something that was more dynamic and something that would lend itself to a more exciting live show, I think, as well,
Yeah.
And, be able to kind of do the more intimate, gentle stuff, but also have something more climactic to build towards as well,
Okay. I think when I did speak to you, I'm not sure if it was yourself, but I got a feeling it was. This was going back to the release of the first album. And I remember at the time, I think you just went into a studio as a band and put some stuff up on SoundCloud, and then almost immediately you got quite a bit of interest, didn't you? And that's how it kind of snowballed, wasn't it?
Yeah, it all happened pretty quick, really. I mean, I think that was part of the reason we took a little bit of time with this one is we really wanted to figure out what we should do next without feeling like we were just repeating ourselves. We didn't. I don't think. In a nice way, we weren't really ready the first time round. And I think this time, we're very much prepared for whatever happens next. And I think that, it was a
bit more seasoned now.
Yeah, definitely,
a bit more experience about the rock and roll industry.
Yeah, everything's kind of fun, and it's all a wild old ride. The first time you get to go out and play any of these shows, and now we're a little bit more savvy to what to expect, and what we can expect from ourselves and from the industry and from fans and all the rest of it. So we do feel like we know a bit more like what we're doing this time around.
Yeah,
and it does feel a little bit more considered, but hopefully with a vast kind of wealth of experience that we didn't obtain the first time around.
Sure. And do you write the lyrics for the band? Are you the lyricist? Yeah,
I'm like the primary songwriter really, and we work on a lot of the music together, and often I'll get sent ideas, and it'll be up to me to kind of sculpt them into songs.
Yeah. So can I ask you about the title of the album, which is Where Wildness Grows? Is there a track called that on the album? Yeah,
there's a title track for it as well, which we put out last week.
Okay, so can you talk us through that particular song? Because I think that song has some kind of there's kind of like a sort of a philosophical bent to it, isn't there? It's about ambition and drive and making things happen, and what happens when things don't go to plan, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think kind of for me, I wanted the album itself to feel kind of rooted to something tangibly human, and not wanted it to feel as sort of fantastical as the first one, and it shouldn't have been so much about escapism. It should have been more about realism, and trying to kind of face a lot of the kind of troubling emotions and the positive and negative ones that I kind of feel myself, and ones that I'm sure almost certainly everyone else does as well. So Where Wildness Grows, the title track, was one that felt fundamentally kind of appropriate to summarize a lot of the album, I think, and kind of how to deal with the combination of anxiety and ambition that I think a lot of people, in particular probably young people around sort of similar age to me, when they kind of they've kind of left their teens now, and they suddenly have to feel like they need to make an impression on the world, and how frustrating and difficult that can be. But also it can be, you know, exhilarating as well, you know.
Brighton's finest.
This is Juice.
Do you think the album is works along those lines as themes in general? What you've just been saying? Because
I think so. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of what kind of the stuff that I was going through. I think I didn't really imagine that I would be doing music when the first record came out. I think I'd kind of given up a little bit on that as a vocation, you know. And and I think after the first album was done and it was time to sit down and do a second one, I think a lot of the things running through my mind was how do I kind of approach this really, because it's not something I felt like I'd really considered for a long time, you know. I didn't really feel like I was a professional in any sense, or I didn't even feel like I was truly kind of an artist in at that point. So it was about how do I rediscover that kind of confidence, I think, and how do I present it in a way which I feel comfortable with.
We're going on quite a big tour in Europe and then in the United Kingdom, including the Haunt in Brighton on the 2nd of May. And then what happens after that? After May, what's the plan?
We start festivals then, really. You know, I think they're kind of getting busier and busier. They seem to be getting booked by the day. So, you know, it's kind of the it's a slightly nervy position you end up, I think, when you haven't played for a couple of years really, and you've kind of you've kind of gone away and hidden.
Have you done any shows in the last week or two, or in relation to this new album where you've been playing some of the new tracks? Yeah,
we played some of them. You know, we did a few support tours to keep things to kind of as an opportunity to kind of work on things. We last year we toured with Wolf Alice in Europe, and we did a few French festivals a few weeks ago.
Okay,
so we're kind of doing little bits.
Yeah,
to kind of get our head around stuff. But we've kind of saved doing stuff in the UK really until the album comes out, because you know that feels like it should be a special moment, I guess, to kind of get and go out there and play the whole new album really, and show people what we've been doing this whole time, you know.
Brilliant stuff. And just wanted to ask you about the exhibition that's taking place as well, which is between the 14th and 20th of March, Gengahr and Friends exhibition, featuring Alt J, Mystery Jets, Slaves, Marika Hackman, and many others. And I believe that the band member Hugh Schult, is that how you say his name? Schult? Yeah. Schult. He's involved in this quite extensively, is that right? He's one of the... what is this exhibition? Can you explain it?
Well, it's something that we put together last time. We put it together when we released the first album, in fact. So it was put together then. It was an idea we had in which we wanted to kind of showcase all the art that had been used for the album campaign. Yeah. And it just seemed like a really nice thing to do, to kind of involve other people we knew in bands that also were painting as well. So it kind of all happened quite fortuitously. You know, we knew the Slaves guys then from playing festivals. We met them, and Laurie had just sort of started working on some of his own paintings and was very keen to be involved. And then obviously Tom from Old J was, you know, we toured with them that year as well. And Tom does painting outside of the band, and you know, he was really excited to get involved. So we kind of, it was quite small in lineup sense last time, and then I think it was such a success that time around when we came to suggesting the idea now, there were kind of a lot of people kind of jumped at the idea of being involved themselves. So, you know, we've seen people like Marika and the Jets and stuff. They were all super keen to be a part of it this time around. So it's a far more extensive lineup, and I think of you know, we're working on the creation of it at the moment. So I think it's going to be something very special. You know,
that's a lovely idea, a really great idea, I think. So it's an Hackney's A-side, B-side gallery. So it's on for a week, 14th to the 20th of March.
Yeah, so again, I mean, we did last time, it was only run for a weekend, so I feel like the whole thing's kind of, you know, with the album and the way things have kind of worked, I guess, for us as well, you know, it all feels like it's kind of got bigger and it's expanded a little bit now. So it's on for a whole week, which I think is amazing. And I think, you know, it's going to be a real treat.
This is
Brighton's finest.
Bringing the artists closer to you.
Juice.